Welcome back to another episode of the Can't Afford a Therapist podcast. In the chair today, I have Thomas Hengge. He is a photojournalist based out of New York City. Met him last year when I was getting a tattoo for one of my friends that had passed away. It happened to be like perfect because it was just starting up this series with the tattoo artist and tattoo parlor to record people's stories for tattoos. And it just happened to be the day I was walking in. Perfect timing. But with the years getting so crazy, being a photojournalist kind of was a pretty good spot to be in. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, one, I want to just say congratulations on becoming a finalist for the Student Photographer of the Year by Photo World Organization and SONY Alpha.
Thank you so much.
SONY Alpha is one of the cameras I use to stream with. It's a great camera. But what I don't know anything about the World Photo Organization. Can you tell me a little bit about that and the award itself?
Yeah, so they're a UK collective, and basically they pool together just talent from all over the world, and they have a professional category, a student category, and a youth category. And essentially what they do is you enter the competitions, schools and people all over the world, and then they shortlist 10 of us, and then from there, yeah, we compete for the top spot. But they're really good about helping up and coming photographers, get a voice out there, because it is just, I mean, it's a crazy time and it's a crazy market with everybody, out there shooting. So I'm, really, really grateful for that.
Yeah, I mean, too, with competition, with everyone with a camera in their pocket, pretty much nowadays, and they're adding more and more to each of the phones.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but dude, no one's taking the pictures I've seen on your Instagram are just stunning.
Thank you, man.
They're literally crazy. When I saw, especially what our main topic of today, I guess, is going to be the events that occurred on January 6th. You were present, and you witnessed those wild events. Those were just like my jaw dropped. It's like still like I can't find the words to describe one how I felt about the whole situation, because it did truly make me sick to my stomach. But
yeah,
being there and actually documenting it, what was that like?
I mean, exactly the same as how you feel, having seen it from afar. I felt that there, but I mean, those emotions came after, because when you're in the moment, I was more focused on, my safety, and also getting my images, and getting my images helped me stay calm and stay focused. But I feel like the more that I saw the outside coverage, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I could curse out here, but
Yeah, curse all you want. No sponsors.
Yeah, I was like, the more I watched, I was like, holy shit! Like, I was in the middle of that, and it could have went, one way or the other, but I did my best to blend in. But it's just, I mean, I feel the same way that you do about the whole situation. Just
Wild.
nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I saw you doing your best to blend in. The no mask thing is probably the best way to camouflage yourself as a person in the media in one of those wild groups.
Dude, I mean, yeah, the whole day was interesting from start to finish. I got there quite early, and I was wandering around, kind of getting a feel for what the crowd was like, and I got told to go back to where I came from by a lady, who I had my mask, I had my camera. I looked like press. I did my best to change that appearance, but yeah, I got told to go back to where I came from. I got cursed out. I got told that I was Antifa. But beyond that, like, yeah, the whole mask thing, like, I was being conscious of, like, keeping it on when I needed to. But it was one of those things. I had people walking past me throughout the day, and going like at me.
No, because I see Elle Reeves do it on CNN when she goes into these crowds. She's wearing the mask off because it's easier to
Yeah.
blend yourself in. And
it was a lot of that. It's survival, really, at that certain point,
I
in a
mean,
weird
well,
way,
the
right?
images. I mean, you kind of like a war reporter for that
Yeah.
day. For it's to say the least. It's it's sad to say, being in Washington D.C. But that's what the images I was getting and feeling from the images I saw was what it was like. But did you attend a rally beforehand as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually where the woman told me to go
Oh,
back to where I
really?
came from. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Um,
fitting.
that was, in a weird way, more tense than the actual Capitol, because I think it was just very, like, calm, and people could focus on, um, you know, focused on the press that was there, and they were not particularly thrilled that we were there. Of course, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the rally. I mean, prior to that was, having been there, it was scary to watch. You're watching the ideology live and breathe, and then mobilizing later turned into what it did because of that.
So I'm right. So you're there as a person in the media. Did you get this sense that he was kind of telling people go down there?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for sure. I think, I think in every way, my personal beliefs and what I
We
saw.
won't have to get into that. Like,
No, it's totally fine. I mean, I'm happy to talk about
okay.
it. Personally, I think that he 100% incited them. He didn't necessarily. I mean,
Same.
the words that came out of his mouth were not
Yeah.
go to the Capitol and break in, but you're fueling people who are already
Those
extreme.
tensions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like these people want any reason to do this, and they take that fuel and they go. To the point where I was on the Capitol steps as they were trying to still push in, and they're playing Trump's second speech, the one where he said "you're special" and "we love you" or whatever. And the people there were like, "Fuck that! This is too far now." And they kept going, despite him saying, that he didn't want them to keep, promoting violence and doing violence. He gave them the fuel, and then it was just too big of a fire.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Damn. Like, it's just so crazy to even think about it. And that's specifically why I wanted to talk to you, because my last episode, which I live streamed, haven't put out yet. It's going out tonight. We talked about it a little bit, and my friend I spoke with is a Democratic staffer. He works for a congressman, I forget who, but he was like, "Yeah, this is nuts." And it's like he was talking about like strategies and stuff like that, but nobody really has an idea where to go with this. And from what you were saying, that was the feeling on the ground there as well, as we've gone too far. Is now what?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I mean, it was a completely defensive situation from the Capitol Police, and obviously that situation could have been handled differently. But I mean, it got to the point where it was just they've already, in a sense, accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, and nobody's really, upon policing them. So
Yeah,
it got to that point where it was just too far. And even when Trump said to stop, it was like they're already at the gate. No,
Yeah,
they're not going to stand down now.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's happening.
Yeah,
Can't stop it when it's happening.
The train was in motion, too far gone. Yeah.
It's like extra sad for me. Well, it's a little selfish to say this, but like I lived down there my last semester of college. I was interning for C-SPAN. C-SPAN, which most people don't really know, is right across the street from the Capitol. It's like a big giant glass building. It's in one of the floors, and I'm seeing that my office, like my old office, just there on the camera. And I'm like, holy fuck! Like so I applied for a job. If I would have got that job, I would have been right in the thick of things. Like, it's wild to think about. And like, I still had friends down there from when I was an intern who were in the Capitol at the time and were freaking out, like justifiably freaking out.
100%. I mean, in all in all respect, I mean, I think that what had happened could have been a lot worse had I don't know. I don't even know what went on in the Capitol. I actually did not get in. Kind of in better in hindsight, but
good, that's actually a good thing in the long run.
But I mean, to a point, it's like I don't know what their mission was. I don't know what they hoped to accomplish, but they definitely. I kept looking up at the top of the dome when I was on the steps. I'm like, I'm at the fucking Capitol right now.
Yeah. How do you describe that for yourself? Like, how do you feel for like?
I mean, I had never been there before.
Really, first time in D.C. too. That's a great first experience.
Like at the Capitol for sure. I never went to the monuments or anything. I have a buddy down there. We went and partied like back when COVID wasn't a thing. But like I never had an interest in really going there, to be honest. But not for any particular reason. But I just didn't. But I was there, and I mean, seeing all of that go down. I mean, like I said, my images helped me stay focused. But there was a point where I'm just like I mean, I'm at the heart of the United States, essentially, right? And they're destroying it, and they're attacking the police, and these are the people who are supposed to be championing the police and back the blue and whatnot.
Beating the shit out of the police while waving a thin blue line flag.
Yeah, dude.
The irony wasn't even hitting them in the face.
Honestly, and it's funny because they all went on to blame Antifa and blame they blamed Antifa, blamed BLM for infiltrating it. I'm like, yo, I fucking saw you, dog. I was there.
Yeah,
Like,
it's I have
like,
pictures. I have the
yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, like who are they arresting now? They're not like maybe few and far between Antifa infiltrators were there and got busted or whatever. But I mean, majority, like I said,
It's
like
a
I just
dedication.
like I fucking saw you, man. Like
Yeah, I mean,
know,
for any one of those like quote unquote Antifa people to infiltrate, yeah, it's
yeah.
a hard dedication to infiltrate. You gotta like gain 40 pounds. You gotta get a couple American flag tattoos. It's a hardcore dedication.
Yeah, right. Like I mean, that's what I'm saying, man. And everybody was immediately went to that. I'm like, no, you guys just fucking went too far, and you realize you went too far, so now you need to pass the buck.
Yeah.
I mean, at least own it. If you want to be these fucking patriots who come and try to take back your government, like don't fucking pass the buck at the 11th hour after you fucking did it.
At least own up to it too.
Yeah, come on, like be the patriot that you claim you are, whatever the fuck.
So real quick, I do want to just take a little sidestep in the conversation.
Yeah.
You said you partied in D.C. Anywhere specific?
The club Decades.
Decades.
So I don't know if you've been there, but it's like each floor is a different theme.
Okay. So I've been to a similar one. It's, that's why I asked, because I went to Ultra Bar, or whatever the fuck it was called, and it was 3 different themes. The bars are sick down there. They're wild, expensive as shit. But I being the broke ass intern that I was, I was looking for deals. So I asked to see if you had gone to my favorite place, I guess, in the whole world. For Fridays and Saturday nights from 9 to 11 o'clock at night at Shenanigans, an Irish bar. $10 open bar.
Oh, that's killer.
Bro, not getting paid as an intern in D.C., working 40 hours and then going to school.
Yep.
We would drink them out of house and home every Friday and Saturday. And it was rough mornings, but it was worth it. It was a good stress reliever.
Yeah, $10 open bar. You cannot beat that deal.
Unbelievable.
You're right, though. Everything is fucking expensive down there, but
But it is what it is. It's like here.
Yeah, 100%. Here is just
fucking ridiculous too. And there's nowhere else to go. Like we're kind of stuck. Like because those are all the jobs. Everything's happening here.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I'm taking a little R&R outside of the city soon, but
good for you. Where are you going?
Yeah. I'll just be popping out to Long Island, which is equally expensive, but got trying to kind of see the landscape and get some opportunities outside of New York. If COVID, of course, allows.
Yeah, well, Long Island's a little bit more open space. I'm sure you can find some stuff.
It'll be good.
It's not too bad. Well, let's get back to the conversation at hand. Because I really just love the night scene in DC. It's really just the image that everyone has of Washington D.C. and the actual what it is in the night. Because everyone thinks of a suit and tie, but really it's like 19-year-olds and to 25-year-old starving interns getting shit-faced. That's who DC is, and that's what I love.
Yeah,
And it's just so funny for me. But let's get back to the Capitol. And you were also there in DC, so you stayed for a little bit, and you were at the inauguration.
Yeah. I actually came back up, reset, and then drove back down.
Okay. I figured you just hung out. Never mind.
No.
What was the different feelings in those two events?
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean it went from like the most an overrun capital to the probably most secure place on earth a week later, right, or whatever, 2 weeks later, I forget. But I went down there.
2 weeks exactly.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah, they but I mean it was what it was, and they had all the fencing up. The National Guard I think was more so just like a show of force than anything actually serious.
Yeah.
Most of them weren't even carrying like live rounds or anything like that.
That's
like,
what I read
saying,
too.
Like, armed guards. I'm like, I was in the military and they're not carrying shit.
But I can tell. Same thing on the 6th. Like I saw you there, and these guys aren't doing shit.
Yeah, exactly. They were all. It was nice. It was nice to chat with them, and just like they're regular people, so it wasn't like this whole thing. It was more of just a show of force, which is important, especially after something like that.
Yeah, you kind of needed to do that. It was necessary, even though you don't. That's not the ideal image you want to see for an inauguration.
Yeah.
Situationally, given the context, it was needed.
Yeah, and I mean, really on the day of, there was more press than there was anybody else. And there was like, the Jesus freaks and stuff. And I say that in a way that those people are openly mocking like other people, not like, if you believe in Jesus, you're a freak, fine. But,
No, we
they,
get
yeah.
it's extremists. It's
Yeah, they're like calling out like everything under the sun and trying to like incite stuff. But they were, it is what it is. But other than that, yeah, mostly media. A few Trump supporters, but they just wore their MAGA hats and came down like all dressed nice to just start with people. And it wasn't really a big to do, but it was just cool to see. When I say cool to see, something I had to be there for, but it was like the photography Olympics.
Yeah,
Everybody was there.
My first inauguration was actually Trump's, like being
Oh,
physically
yeah.
there. Yeah, because I was in D.C. That was my last year of college. Was his inauguration, and I was given a ticket by one of my roommates. And I was like, "What the hell am I supposed to do? There's nothing else to do." Yeah, so I'm like, "Fuck it, I'll go." So, me and my roommate went. So that's the situation on how we got the tickets. Was my roommate, one of my very good friends. He's currently an ensign, I think, in the Navy. I think that's what the title is. Maybe he's gone a little further. It's been a little while, but it's me and him. He worked for Cuomo, and he had gotten like a good ticket through Cuomo's office. And my other roommate had worked for Steve Scalise.
Okay, yeah.
And he had gotten like a shitty ticket for Steve from the representative whip, like the majority whip. He gave him a shitty ticket. We traded him for the 2 tickets that he had for ours, and we went just to like experience it because we knew this one was going to be a very, very different one than most of them. And yeah, it's something that you had to be there to experience, and I'm sure it's probably the same way that I felt at that inauguration. Probably the same way that you felt at the Biden inauguration, because it is just the imagery that I was seeing. It's it's weird. It's just like it just gave me a weird feeling.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
But I did say this on the last podcast, that I had some sense of hope from seeing the Biden inauguration, and I'm a vocally not the biggest fan of Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And I had like butterflies in my stomach for like the first time in a few years.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I don't think Biden's necessarily the answer, but I do feel like we are in a better position to actually like chill the fuck out as a country. Which is
you're just gonna pump
really
the brakes a bit. Just pump the brakes a bit.
Yeah, I agree.
No more brick on the fucking gas. You're just gonna.
I mean, just like to have a president who's not like a mouthpiece and just rattling off whatever crazy thought he has is good. For me, I think Biden's a very vanilla guy, and he's just gonna be like the back to the basic president that we had, and like everybody can kind of go, okay, and like I like my politicians to do their shit behind closed doors, not like right in my face. I mean,
or at least like I'm very vocal about most politicians. I talk a lot of shit. You can probably see on my webcam. I'm a little bit out there. That's not being streamed, so don't worry. I'm not. Yeah. But like, I don't even know where I'm going with this, because it's like I'm just so weirded out by the entire thing. Just the gates, the guards, the riots, and I'm hoping for the best, but. I watched the first. This is what I was trying to say. The first press conference after the inauguration, the first real Biden press conference when he was signing all those executive orders. Like, and I've watched them since maybe 2011, since Obama. I've been like a little bit of a nerd into this shit. And I was like, oh my god, it's boring again. Like, it's kind of good to feel that, It's kind of.
I agree.
I'm just listening to it, and he's like, we'll sign this law, we'll do this, checks are coming, maybe. Well, I'm like, okay, at least he's gonna lie to us. Like, that's not the greatest thing to say, but sometimes the truth is a lot more fucked up, and I'd rather get a little bit of a lie every once in a while.
Because they're fucking doing it anyway,
Exactly. So at least they're fucking. It's gonna ease some tensions for 5 minutes.
I totally fucking agree with that. Like I've been watching him too, and it's like he's not. There's nobody's gonna go off the rails.
No,
It's like, okay, like I'm getting like he's reading the script. Okay, cool. And it's a good and bad thing, of course. But like, yeah, I just need my politics to be boring again for like a couple years, and then we can go back to the rodeo.
Oh no! We can't go back to the rodeo. We
Yeah,
can go. We can have
well,
we can watch
I'm a
the
journalist,
rodeo.
you know?
Yeah, okay, that's probably good for you.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a part of the media now too. I'm doing
Yeah, yeah.
podcasts. That's probably good for me too.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Profit off of all the bullshit,
That's
right?
we're trying to market everything. So that's how I promoted this live stream and this podcast was the whole GameStop scenario with the
Yeah.
stocks. I said I got insider trading, AJ Pitt. That's what my initials. Click my link for a free stock, and my link was the Twitch link.
I love that.
It's that's all you got to do. It's good guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, there you go, dude. Everything is fair game. That's what I've learned these past 4 years, and especially now with this stock market shit, dude. Everything is fair game. Do what you want.
Nothing means anything.
Yeah,
I've been telling that for people for years. I was like, everything's relatively meaningless. Like, why do you give a shit? Just do whatever you want to do anyway.
Literally, man. At this point, like, it's just no holds bar.
And as time went on, I've been validated, so I feel good about it.
Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, dude.
So let's move forward a little bit from the boring politics stuff. Let's talk more just about like general photography. Like, what other stuff? Like, what led you to photography in general in the first place?
Yeah. So I mean, I've been sort of shooting for a long time. I didn't really know what I just shot, like anything, like landscapes, cityscapes, whatever. And then I pivoted to professional work, getting involved with the tattoo shops. I just had a camera. I got hired by like a friend who was a PR director at a fashion company, got some commercial gigs, and it kind of spiraled from there. And then did video work, and then actually went to school. I recently graduated with my master's in journalism.
Congratulations.
I went there. Thank you, man. I went there to sort of just become a better writer for television, and then I drank the Kool-Aid, and now I am a journalist. So it kind of worked out funny, but yeah, I was doing some professional work for a little while, and then like with like brands, music, and stuff, and then from there, now, like I said, I mean, biggest news events of our lifetime happened this year, so I couldn't resist.
Yeah, I was gonna say better off. Like, television kind of died this year, and
Yeah.
shit popped off outside. So being a journalist is probably the best way you went.
Yeah, exactly. And it's I feel like I mean, in the most cliche way possible, it's like I really found my sense of purpose again, like after leaving the military, and it's been rewarding, and it's going to be a long, hectic road, but I'm here for it.
That's all, dude. That's so great. I love. I say this almost every episode, but the people I try to talk to are people that love what they do.
Yeah.
That's been the theme, because the whole point of the show is to, it's about mental health. I guess it's can't afford a therapist, but it's really just to see what makes people kind of happy, and what gets people through their own shit. Because everybody fucking has a story. Everyone's got their own shit to deal with, but how you deal with that and how you push through all the bullshit and find your purpose, and I just love to hear those stories, and it's great. Plus, what you're doing is making art, which is a double whammy, because you're feeling good and you're also putting good out into the world.
Yeah, I think,
in my opinion, some people could talk shit about art, but I'm not one of those fucking people. Like, what you're doing is great.
Thank you, man. And like, I think that's a big part of it too. I've realized over the course of this year, for sure, like the power of images, and how I want to do something where it's not just promoting a brand or whatever. It's actually like informing the public, or trying to. And there's a lot of challenges that come with that, but like I said, man, I drank that Kool-Aid, and I love what I do. I really do.
What led you to the Kool-Aid? Do you want to say, or?
I mean, really, it was just sort of like, things that I feel like I have a responsibility as somebody in journalism to cover heavier things with the background that I have. And I ran at those things head first. And then, I'd rather be out there doing it than anybody else. I want to see it for myself.
See it for yourself. See, that's great. So I'm kind of the exact opposite. I did this podcast because, everything was sucking. And I was like, dude, everything sucks. Outside's like awful. People are getting sick. People are dying. There's riots and chaos on the street nonstop.
Yeah.
I want to make people laugh. Let's try and, distract people. It'll be a clown for 5 minutes and have a little fun. So I just think it's so interesting that you like, I want to go see it. I'm like, nah, I'll see it eventually. I know what's going on. I always keep my fingers on the pulse of what's going on, but every once in a while, I need to, take a hit of a joint,
Yeah.
take a deep breath, and relax, man.
No, agreed, man, and that's really what's like why I'm taking a step back out of the city. Like now, I feel like I kind of like, it's just been one thing after fucking another, like you said, and now it's kind of a time to like take a step back and reassess and just be like, okay, where am I at? Am I okay?
Dude, and you've been to like literally every event: the D.C. riots, the Breonna Taylor protest, the George Floyd protest, like craziness. You 1 year. This all happened in 1 year, mind you. A little bit 6 days into the next one, but
Yeah.
pretty much within a 1 year time frame is just fucking crazy to me. I saw a meme today. I think it was pretty funny. It's pretty relevant to the conversation, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me pull it up real quick. It was saying like day 10 of the quarantine, I made bread. Day 95, I missed my friends. Fuck, I don't want to butcher the joke because it's a really funny meme.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is it? Jesus Christ, my group chat is just awfully ridiculous for no reason.
I feel like every good group chat, right?
Most good group chats, they have to be. If there was a dead group chat, if I didn't have to scroll a couple times, it'd be pretty bad.
I put my phone down for 10 minutes. I have 65 messages I missed because everybody's just roasting each other.
Dude, yeah, and if you miss those 65 messages, it's like you've missed a whole bunch of shit. You missed like 3 days worth of shit in an hour and a half. It's not great. So I found it. Pandemic day 25. I made bread. Day 95. I sure do miss my friends. Day 310. The White House appears to be under the control of a shirtless man in a Viking helmet. Day 330. Reddit's coordinated attack on Wall Street's going as planned. I said, take a look at those events because those are all real events. And you tell me anything has meaning in this world. I go, nothing. I go, just enjoy yourself.
I absolutely agree with you. And the more shit happens and the more stuff I run at, I'm like, I'm doing it because I love to do it, but it gives me a lot of perspective on like how fragile all this shit is and how nuts people are. That's why we shouldn't question ourselves and be insecure. Because like, look at these fucking people taking over the Capitol.
Yeah, exactly.
If they could do that, I shouldn't be really worried about what I said when I was drunk last night.
Yeah, exactly. No more apologies for drunk text. That's it. From here on out, 2021 forever. Your drunk texts are your drunk texts. They happen.
I'm owning everything, all my stupid DMs, everything.
Fuck it. Who cares?
Yeah,
Nothing matters anymore.
I'm with you, dude, and it's liberating. It is.
It really is. That fuck it attitude. It's a great feeling to have. You got to have it for most things, but you got to, hone it back for some stuff.
It could be
it's addicting too. It's very addicting because it's fun.
Yeah.
But it can come off as the asshole way too, so you got to be careful.
Yeah. We're all hiding in quarantine, so nobody gets to see me anyway.
Well, that's a benefit, I guess. So you could be a little bit of a dick when you're stuck at home.
Yeah.
So I guess my last question on the photojournalism stuff before we move on to our final topic, because we're almost running out of time here. Conversation's going quick. Is what was your favorite event that you went to this year? I guess not favorite event, but is most meaningful for you to be at, to attend and capture.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you mean. That's tough.
I'm new to this too, so
no, totally. And that's I think like the most meaningful thing that I think I have done, or what I'm most grateful for having been at, was probably the Capitol. And I'll tell you, I mean, it's that's kind of an easy one, but the reason why is because prior to that, I mean, I've been covering BLM, I've been covering how COVID affected the city. And like how it emptied out. Like I was out there in the first days of the shutdown, so I'd say that one stands out too. Like when the city was empty, because I'll never probably see it like that again. But the Capitol for sure, because prior to that, I hadn't really embedded with any Trump people. I hadn't been to any Trump rallies because they just hadn't been happening where I was, and they haven't been to that scale. Yeah, and I went down there on a whim the day before I rented a car. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go. And it turned into history. And I'm grateful that I was there to see it myself. Again, it's kind of like that. The protests were crazy. And I'm grateful that I was there too. But the Capitol is something that, like, I mean, having been there was just insane.
For
Um,
especially the day that you were there.
yeah, so it's
First real time at the the National
yeah,
Mall.
yeah, really, and yeah, I would say that because I got to see, in the most extreme sense, the other side, and that's I've wanted to do that for a while, but I didn't know I was going to get what I got.
But you know, low key, great for you
Yeah,
because of
yeah,
for your job is that's uh, no better occasion to be at than probably one of the most historical events in modern history.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Since
it
probably
shows.
since 9/11, probably since
Yeah,
9/11 is the most historical event.
it's just insane. Yeah, I mean, all the other stuff aside, like it doesn't. I don't put like on the value scale. Of course, I think they're all equal, and I think we like I. But yeah, seeing it the way that it was just a lot. I'm still processing it.
But the sheer scale of it. No, but I completely understand what you mean because that's the same way I felt when I was at the inauguration.
Yeah.
That was my first experience. I had planned to go to a Trump rally in when I was in college in Albany. I had attended a Bernie rally the morning of, and Trump was doing one down the street at night. But
Oh
I
wow.
got called into work. Yeah, I was like, let's go to both. Let's see everything. But I had to get called into work, so that was my first true experience being embedded, with the other side in the crowd of
Yeah.
the true who gets tickets. I was in a ticketed area for the inauguration. These are
Yeah.
the diehards.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Really.
I'm sitting there in just like jeans. I don't know. I didn't try not to look too crusty, but like I dress my normal way, and
Yeah.
all these people, there's just red MAGA hats
Yeah.
everywhere. I was like, oh shit! Like this makes like I understand how he's the president now. Like there's
Yeah.
clearly some support.
Agreed. And they're very like they're very charged and they're very adamant, and it shows. And a lot of them, they're like put together people. They're like they have money and shit, and you can
Yeah,
tell like they come from like a well off.
upper middle class.
Yeah,
A
and
lot
then
of them.
and they're here ready
But
to
there's
get.
also some of them that are a lot of them too that are in the working and poorer
Yeah,
class,
for sure. I absolutely. And
which
I
they
guess
drank the wrong flavor Kool-Aid.
yeah, yeah, really. You got to drink the blue. The red is where you go the other way, right? But yeah, man, I would say that for sure, just because of the the magnitude of it and how historic it was. I'm just grateful to have been there, just to see it for myself.
Yeah, no, yeah, like I said, I completely understand that. But let's move on to my favorite part because we can talk. This one might go for a little bit, so that's why I wanted
Sure.
to get to it. So it's music, which is my favorite thing. But like even before comedy, I love comedy. I started doing comedy and it died because of COVID right as I was going. So a little fucking punch in the gut to feel that. But music has always been a thing for me and kept me going my whole life. I've got the
Yeah, hell
Sublime
yeah.
tattoo. You interviewed me for my Flatbush Zombies tattoo. I'm covered with music shit. But I always find it interesting what people are listening to. So, what are you listening? What are you in your headphones when you're at this taking these pictures? Like, are you just in the moment, or are you listening to something?
It depends. So I usually listen to music on the way there just to get sort of in the zone. When I'm there, I take them out just in case shit pops off somewhere and I have to hear
You
it.
need to
It's
listen.
like photography is like all senses, right? But recently, I've been listening to Big L, Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous.
Nice.
I've been listening to, oddly, I went back and listened to Slipknot's first album.
Is
And that was
Iowa?
like, I think it was their self-titled one in the first album.
Just the first album, Slipknot. I'm
Yeah,
looking it
yeah,
up right now. Hold on.
yeah. When they're in like the
Yeah,
red
Slipknot.
jumpsuits.
Not yeah. Iowa's 2001.
Yeah, and like it blows my mind how far back that was. But I listened to that because I needed something to like really blow off the steam of the Capitol.
Yeah.
And
No, I
like
get
that
it.
helps. I've been listening to, I don't know if you know the band Every Time I Die.
No, but I'll check them out.
Yeah, they're like my probably all-time favorite band, and that's what I've been listening
Every
to.
time I die. See, that's
Yeah.
why I have these conversations at the end because I always hear something that I've never heard of. I'm gonna
Yeah,
add
check
it
them
to
out.
the.
They're
And
great.
I have a Spotify playlist for this show. If anyone's listening or interested, just look up "Can't Afford a Therapist" on Spotify. It should be there. I'll
Yeah.
add it to the Every Time I Die.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, like a lot. I'm pretty eclectic music. really just to kind of like whatever mood I'm in, like everybody else, right? But the stuff that's been going on has definitely influenced.
The taste.
Yeah, I need something like heavy to like really get the shit out and just feel like aggressive.
Yeah, no, I feel ya. I went a little deeper than the Slipknot. I
Yeah,
recently went through that. I need a hit. Music needs to like hit me like a Mack
yeah,
truck, just to
hell
feel
yeah.
something because everything's so crazy. So Slipknot, like that, none of that. I love them, but it just wasn't doing it. I
Yeah,
found this band from Russia, this death metal band from
yeah,
Russia, dude. I just describing them, you understand how crazy it's already gonna be.
yeah, yeah.
What the dude, the lead singer, does not wear a shirt ever. He's ripped beyond belief. He's covered in tattoos from the chin to like I guess to his feet because he's got ink everywhere, and they all wear these demon masks,
I love
and
that.
it's awesome. My favorite song by them is Demolitioner. Dude,
Yeah.
I was just every part about it. I was like, yep, this is it. This is what I needed to feel it. I felt like I was getting punched. It was great.
I love that. Yeah, I'm with that 100%. What's the band name? I'm gonna look them up.
Slaughter to Prevail.
Slaughter to Prevail, and perfect name and perfect frontman image in my head for what we need.
The image that you have is the exact thing.
Yeah,
It's because it's perfect because you can't see this guy no other way.
I
The
love
mask
that.
the mask is gold just to add to the extraness of this band.
Incredible.
Dude, and again, that's why I love to have these conversations because in one of my first episodes, I think I found the new love of my life,
Oh,
Dua Lipa. I had
yeah,
heard
yeah,
this name, Dua Lipa, all like I'm on the internet, but that's not really my taste in music, so I'm not really looking out for
sure.
that. My friend was like, "Yo, you got to listen to Dua Lipa," and he was saying, he's gay, but at the end of the show, he goes, "This is why I think I'm not 100% gay." He goes, Dua Lipa is one of the prettiest women. And I looked her up on Spotify. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah,
I was floored. I was like, she is gorgeous.
yeah.
We just started laughing. And now I've got this band, you've got that band. Anything else you listen to? Or
I mean,
what is this Every Time I Die? What kind of music do they do?
they're pretty like heavy stuff. They're very eclectic too. So they have some stuff that's sort of like rock and rollish, old school. But they're guys from Buffalo, and they're just like degenerate fucks who make like heavy metal and shit.
That's great. You got to
Also,
always support local.
I do want to say that you're gonna have to get in line behind me for Dua Lipa, because she's also,
That's fine.
I also have a crush.
That's fine. I will take because in like the next episode, I literally talked about the woman who started it all.
Yeah.
Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim. This is a movie. I forget
Okay.
the actress's name, but that was it. That was the girl I truly fell in love with,
Yeah.
and we went on for like 20 minutes just about her.
I love that. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like, we're nearing 40 minutes, so I'm gonna let you
Cool.
go because I know you've got things to do. But I want to just say thank you so much for coming. It was a great conversation. If things pop off again, I'd love to have you back
Yeah,
on.
I'm happy to be back, and thank you for having me.
Is there anything you want to plug right now on the Twitch? I have I guess it says Twitter, but I pulled your Instagram name up.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's usually where I do most of my work.
I
On there.
figured that would be
Yeah,
the best one to catch at
yeah, yeah.
because you are a photojournalist.
Yeah, beyond that, man, I just really appreciate you having me on. This is cool to chat.
Yeah, no, this is a great conversation. I just want to also appreciate you help me tell my story about
Of
it.
course.
The story that I told you was my best friend who had like passed away. I said in the thing he recently passed away. It was like the day before.
Holy shit.
And I was getting that tattoo just to
Wow.
to feel something like that, like the music,
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
been over a year now, so like we feel a little bit better. Life
Sure.
goes on, world keeps spinning, things get crazier. But that was I knew I had to have you. I knew I had to talk to you because you gave me that opportunity to tell my stories, and I wanted to do the same back to you. And I
Oh,
really
dude,
appreciate
yeah.
it. And I'm gonna put your not your email. That'd be a horrible idea. Your website in the show notes,
Sure.
and whatever else you want me to plug, I will add. And if whatever else you want to plug, you have the floor.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, dude, and again, your story was beautiful, and you for allowing me to tell it. I can't thank you enough for that, and that means the fucking world, dude. Really.
It's great, man. Appreciate it. Again, thanks for being on. It was a great conversation. And
course.
thank you for listening, everybody. You can find me, if you enjoyed the show, on Twitter at AustinJPiazza or on Twitch and Instagram at AustinCan'tAfford. Yeah, that's it. We'll see you soon, guys.
Thank you, brother.
No, no problem. Thank you again.